All right, guys, I am so excited about today's video. I'm gonna be doing a review. It's gonna actually be something a little outside of my comfort zone when it comes to reviews, but I really think you guys are gonna like this one, so let's take a look. It's a super sweet vacuum. I'm kidding, not Martha Stewart. But I have been doing a lot of cleaning around the house lately, and some more deep cleaning than I'm used to doing with all this time that I have. And the mop and broom just weren't really cutting it anymore, so figured it was time to actually be more of an adult and buy a vacuum. But that's not actually what we're gonna talk about today. I realized it's been like 4 weeks since I did my last update on the RP diet, and we're in the tail end, the home stretch right now. So I figured I'd do one last mid-diet update before I did my final thoughts once the diet was over. So that's what we're gonna do today. And as much as I hate to do it, I think where this update is gonna have to start is with the whole quarantine / lockdown stuff. I know we hate hearing about it right now, but that's had a huge effect on my diet. Initially, it wasn't as bad. Obviously, with the gyms closed, that changed my day-to-day a little bit. But where I work is considered an essential service, so I was still going to work, and my job is somewhat labor-intensive, so my energy expenditure day-to-day, especially while at work, was still fairly high. But with the company I work for, producing steel for the framing for auto manufacturers, and most automotive companies working on ventilators and not making cars, business has slowed down, and it's actually slowed down to a point that I got laid off a couple weeks ago, which is fine, but it has changed my day-to-day a lot. And so part of that effect has been not getting that same energy expenditure that I used to have while I was working. And so what's ultimately happened with the diet is, as you can see right here, I'll put the little screenshot up. There's been a lot of yo-yoing over the past couple weeks. But the cool thing is that it's still on track. I'm still on track to hit my weight loss goal for the 12-week period. But the weight loss itself has tapered off quite a bit. But honestly, I knew that the success that I had early on in the first 6 weeks wasn't going to maintain through the whole entire diet. That would just been foolish to think that that was gonna happen. And then obviously with everything else going on, it's hard to expect things to stay consistent the way they have. But also part of that yo-yoing is, if I'm being honest, it's been a struggle to find a new routine. I was so used to my routine with going to work. I've been doing it for like 6 years now. And so now going from, being up at 4:30 in the morning, eating my first meal at like 5 or 5:30, to now where I'm making sure that I get 8 hours of sleep each night. I'm waking up usually, depending on when I go to bed, somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock most mornings. And so what's happening is I've already missed technically what would have been my first meal. What I've been doing some days is getting up, eating a meal right away, getting ready, doing some stuff, and that way by the time I'm done with my kind of morning routine, it's right around 10:30, which is when my second meal is, and so that way I can just stay on track. But honestly, some days I'm not as motivated to get up and get stuff done right away. And so it's getting closer to that 10:30 mark where I would eat my second meal and I haven't eaten my first meal yet. And so it's a decision of, do I want to basically combine the two meals and then just try and, stay on track from there? Or, just kind of push everything back, make that 10:30 meal my first meal. Some days honestly, to combine the two meals isn't all that hard. It's like each meal is like 55 carbs, 20 fat, 50 protein. So you're looking at only 110 carbs, 40 fat, and 100 protein. The 100 protein and 110 carbs is easy to hit. It's just a few scoops of whey and then like a couple of bagels and I'm there. The harder part is to hit that fat mark. And so what I've been doing is putting some peanut butter on the bagels and then having like whole eggs to try and get closer to that fat mark. But the first problem is I'm not doing that every day. And then the second problem is that with all this extra time on my hands, even though I'm doing things to try and stay productive and keep myself busy, I still have a lot more downtime than I'm used to. And for me, I know this is true. I know for a lot of people it's true. when I get bored, I just feel like eating. And so I've been doing more snacking throughout the day. I've been having more cheat meals than I'm used to doing. And so I've definitely missed more meals in the last 2.5, 3 weeks than I missed in the first 6. The first 6, I was pretty much on point with almost every meal. But the last few weeks, it's been, 1 or 2 meals a day at least that I'm like not hitting or going over. And then with the cheat meals, I'm obviously not even plugging those in. So I don't even know where I'm at with those. And so that's led to some fluctuation like I was talking about. But I think the main point that I want to make with this video, and what is really kind of important when just talking about the mentality of eating, you're not trying to hit everything 100%. If you talk to any nutrition coach that is worth a damn, they're going to tell you what you're looking to do is to get to stay about 80%, because 80% is going to allow you to still be able to hit your goals, but also live life and enjoy yourself and not hate the entire process. Obviously, I don't know exactly what my percentages are, but I would say that I'm probably right around that 80% mark. And that's why I'm still losing weight, even though it's been up and down day to day. And I think that's the second thing I kind of want to drive home with this video, is not weighing yourself every day. Because especially if you're having cheat meals and given the current situation where we're not as active as we probably were before, things are going to fluctuate a lot more day to day. And so if we fixate on the day-to-day weight, it makes it easier to fall into that all or nothing mentality. So it's like, okay, well, I gained a pound today, guess the diet's over. And it's like, no, like you can't take that one day and apply it to the entire diet. One of the ways that I like to look at is I think about it in terms of a train. Like you got a commuter train that's got its stops that it has to make. If for whatever reason that train misses a stop, the train doesn't derail. It just keeps going on to the next stop. And I feel like dieting, especially maintaining a healthy mentality around it, is very similar to that. Like if you're going throughout your day and you miss a meal, just keep going, because that's not going to derail your diet in the same way that missing a stop isn't going to derail that train. So just keep going, keep consistent with the rest of the day if you can. And even if you can't, then just start over the next day. Even missing an entire day is not going to derail the process. So just take a deep breath, keep moving on. And I think over time, that'll put things in the proper perspective for you. And you'll see that it's not as big of a deal as we think it is to miss a meal or miss a day, because we still have plenty of time. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I believe it's like 18 days left, but I only have 2 pounds left to lose to actually hit the target goal for the 12-week plan. And that's plenty of time to lose that weight. So what I'm gonna try and do for the next 2 weeks is create a good daily structure and daily routine that can somewhat mimic what it was like for me to go to work. So that way I can be up early enough to eat my first meal closer to when I was normally eating it. And that will hopefully set the tone for the day and allow me to stay on track meal to meal. I'm also going to get back into doing more meal prepping again, because I really have no excuse not to do that now that I do have all this time on my hands. So I'm hoping that those two things combined will allow me to finish out the last 2 weeks here strong. And then hopefully this 12 weeks ends right around the end of May. And so if we're lucky enough to get back into the gyms in June, I'll actually be going into a maintenance phase for a little while, which will be really beneficial as I start to get to work out consistently again. But if not, I'll just keep trying to do what I can in the meantime to keep things consistent. One of the things I always say is trusting the process, and that's never been more important than it is right now, especially with so much changing. I've got to trust that as long as I continue to hit those macros, even if my energy levels aren't what they used to be, I can still stay on track. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If it was, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you have any questions about the RP Diet app, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Subscribe if you aren't already, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Peace.